الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Lesson number 8 discusses on mu'rab, mabni and amil, and it mentions that words are of two types due to i'rab and bina, right? And we will find out what mu'rab is and what mabni is. I'rab is linked to mu'rab, bina is linked to mabni, right? So there's two types, mu'rab and mabni, two types of words. Number one, mu'rab, the definition of mu'rab, it is that word the end of which, the final letter of which changes due to the changing of an amil, which acts upon that word, right? It is also called ism mutamakkin, because it accepts i'rab, meaning the last letter changes, the i'rab. What was the i'rab? Rafa, nasab, jar. That means pesh, zabar, zir. Okay? So the change is due to the changing of an amil. For example, ja'a zaydun. Right? Another example, that means Zayd arrived. Because Zayd in this example arrived, he's going to have a rafa on him, alright? Because he's doing something. He's a fa'il. What is he in this example? Fa'il. Doing something. A fa'il always has a rafa. In the next example, it says, Habastu Zaydan anil la'ibi. I stopped, or I prevented, I imprisoned, or I basically stopped, incapacitated Zayd from playing, right? In this one, Zayd is being stopped, is being prevented from something, so he is the maf'ul. He's not fa'il, he's not doing something. Something is being done to him. So he is a maf'ul. Therefore, he's going to be mansoob in this case. Not marfu, not rafa. Mansoob, and he's going to have a nasab on it, which is a what? Zabar. So it's going to be Zaydan. It's going to be Zaydan. Do you understand? Zaydan. And see, in the final example, Katabtu ila Zaydin risalatan. I wrote to Zayd a letter or an article, okay? And in this example, because Zayd has the word ila before him, ila is one of the haruf jara, which you learn of later on, okay? And the haruf jar, they make the word after them majroor. It has a jar. What is that? A zair, right? Because it's got a small connector word, a particle. Then certain particle words which you will learn of later, it will show you. So see, in these three examples, due to the changing of the amil, Zayd changed, and Zayd was the mu'rab word. Zayd is a mu'rab word. When the amil changed, Zayd also changed. In the first example, the amil was ja'a, and Zayd became marfu. It had a rafa. In the second example, the amil was habastu, and what happened to Zayd? It became mansoob, he had nasab. In the last example, look, it says ila Zaydin. Ila is the amil acting upon it, and Zayd is given a jar, it becomes majroor. You understand? So this is mu'rab. Zayd is mu'rab. Why? Because it changes due to the changing of the amil. Number two, mabni. That word, the end of which, the final letter of which does not change due to the changing of an amil. For example, Sama ha'ula'i. Like these people or these lot fasted. Right? Sama. Som, roza. These not fasted. Ra'aytu ha'ula'i. I saw ha'ula'i, these people. And the first one, ha'ula'i, was a fa'il, wasn't it? Yeah. They did the fasting. What was it supposed to be? It would have been marfu with a rafa, and it stays the same though, nothing happens to it. Yeah. In this case, what would it have been? Mansoob with a nasab. Why? Because something is being done to them. You are looking at them. They are not doing the action, they are being looked at. It would have been mansoob with a nasab, but It's not, it stayed the same. It's still هؤلاء, these lot. And in the last example, it shows نظرت إلى هؤلاء, that I also, meaning nazar also means I'm looking towards, right? I'm gazing towards these. I'm gazing towards these. نظرت إلى هؤلاء. إلى was one of the حروف الجارة. حرف jar. What would this normally do? Make it majroor, right? So in these three examples, however, the هؤلاء stayed the same, right? صام هؤلاء. رأيت هؤلاء. نظرت إلى هؤلاء. I gazed towards these. But هؤلاء in these examples is mabni. Due to the changing of the amil, the last letter of هؤلاء does not change. Okay. Next is amil. What is the definition of an amil? An amil is that word due to which the last letter of mu'rab changes. Okay. Amil is an actor. It performs the action. Right? The amal. It does amal, an action, and it changes the last letter of the mu'rab. For example, in this example, وصل القطار إلى المحطة. Right? Wasala means reached. Al-qitaru, the train. Ila means to. Al-mahattati is the station. Right? So, reached the train to the station. The train reached to the station. Okay. Now, in this example, what is the amil? It's wasala. The verb wasala, reached. And what is the effect? It has an effect on al-qitaru, the train. It makes it into marfu with a rafa, because the train is what is doing the action of reaching. So the train is the fa'il, and what has it got? A rafa on it. It's got rafa. Alright. So what is the amil though? Which one acted upon it? The verb behind it, wasala. It reached. Wasala was it reached. Okay. And that performed the amal. What amal did it perform? It made the final letter of the mu'rab change. Alright. That's what amil. That's what the amil does. Now amil is divided into two categories, two aqsam. Right. The aqsam of amil, there's two. Right. You would say qismain for two, yeah. But aqsam would be a plural, yeah. The types of amil, there's two types, yeah. Qismain. Number one, lafzi. Number two, ma'nawi. Number one, what is a amil lafzi? An amil, an actor which is lafzi, it's in words, okay. That amil is visible, you can see it. For example, like we've just given this example, wasal al-qitaru. Wasala was the amil, and it is visible in the sentence. Therefore, it is the amile lafzi, because it's present in the words. Do you understand? Number two, lafzi ma'nawi. Amile ma'nawi. Yeah. What would the amile ma'nawi be? That amil which is not present in words. Right? That's the definition. So what's the thing about it? We know that it's there in meaning. That's why it's called amile ma'nawi. This example would be ar-riyadatu mufidatul lis-sihhati. That the exercise, doing of exercise is beneficial for health. Yeah. Now, in this there is a mubtada and khabar. Right? And the amil of both of them, the amil of the mubtada and the khabar, right, is ibtida. Yani it is empty of lafzi amil. You cannot see it, but we know that it has an amil which is ibtida. What is the amil? Ibtida, beginning. Whenever you begin a sentence in Arabic, it is going to be marfu. That's the general principle. It is always based on rafa. Mubtada will always be rafa, and so is khabar. Yeah. So here, but it is not present in the words here. So this is amile ma'nawi. What is it? Amil ma'nawi. Now, final point he mentions here is ma'mul. What is the definition of a ma'mul? Ma'mul is that which has had the amal, the action, the effect of the amil, the effector, the actor. The amil does amal upon the ma'mul, right? The actor acts upon the one which is acted upon. You understand? For example, he mentions here, اقترح تلميذ, suggested the student. Meaning the student made a suggestion, right? Now, in this example, the tilmizun, the student, is the ma'mul, right? And the iqtaraha is the amil, right? Due to that amil of iqtaraha, the verb, what happens? Tilmizun became marfu, because the student was the one who did it. He is the fa'il. So what is he going to be? Marfu. He's going to have rafa. You understand? So in this example, the tilmiz is the ma'mul. He's the one which has been acted upon. You can think of many examples. You get it? In all these examples that previously when we were talking about Zaid, who was the ma'mul? Zaid. Why? Because he was the one who was affected and changed by the amil. Right? And there were various awamil. The plural is awamil. There were various awamil in various situations. And depending on the different awamil, the i'rab changes accordingly. Right? So let's go through it briefly. A summary is mu'rab, that word, the end of which changes due to the changing of an amil. Number two, mabni, that word, the end of which does not change due to the changing of an amil. Number three, an amil is that which does amal, which acts upon, which changes the final letter of a mu'rab. Yeah? And then we said amil can be of two types. It can be lafzi, that amil which is present in words, or it can be amil ma'nawi, which is an amil which is not present in words but we know it's there in meaning. And then the last thing we mentioned was ma'mul. A ma'mul is that word which has been acted upon, right? Okay? And has performed amal, has had an effect, has acted on that word. That word is called the ma'mul, right? So if you go through these and keep repeating them, inshallah ta'ala, you'll be able to memorize.